What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Cloud Slayer channel. Hope you guys are doing well. Today, just back at it with another ramble. Had a great week. Got to go down to the cities, tried out some brick and bourbon. So if you're down in Maple Grove, I do recommend brick and bourbon. They had a really good the day after burger. It had like eggs, hash browns. Oh man, those were some good hash browns. They had like cream cheese inside those hash browns. I never really had that before. They had some unique drinks. They had some with like a waffle in it, a piece of bacon, and I think it was like an orange peel in there. But oh man, that waffle tastes just like candy, dude. I didn't even know it was a waffle. It didn't even taste like a waffle whatsoever. It tastes like candy. I'm like, holy crap, this is good. But again, that's brick and bourbon. So if you're ever down in Maple Grove area, I recommend that one. I did leave a review on their Facebook, stuff like that. I had some pictures, but it didn't let me post it on there for whatever reason. Maybe I have to be on a computer and not on my phone. Sometimes software is weird like that, right? Or maybe the system was being weird or some jazz like that. But they had some really good appetizers. It was like some portobello and jalapeno quesadilla. It was really good for like a vegetarian appetizer, and very flavorful. All their food was pretty freaking good. They had some like a firecracker shrimp. Oh, dude, their sauce is good, especially on those big old shrimps. Those shrimps were like that big around, you know. It's like holy crap. Really good fries, cooked to perfection. And, you know, it might cost you a little bit more. It's almost like eating out at a Red Lobster or something like that, you know, for like a price-wise. But there is quite a bit of food on those plates and very tasteful, very flavorful. I wouldn't regret going out with anybody, you know, even if you have to save up for a little bit to take somebody out on like a date or anniversary or something, you know. Pretty freaking good. So I highly recommend it. Again, that's brick and bourbon down in Maple Grove. Shout out to those guys and stuff like that. There was, you know, we had this past weekend where we had, I had a special guest, Philip Barton, a friend of mine anyways. I wouldn't say good friend. I know him, but not like, you know, super well. He's a very smart, intelligent individual. He knows so much, you know, so much. He's always out there looking for more knowledge. And he's just like a student of life, right? Just out there learning stuff and trying to better that, you know. And I think that's a great thing to have, and not a lot of people have that. And, you know, even if we forget about doing some of that stuff, you know, try to keep that in mind, that we always are trying to learn from new things, new experiences that we have, and new things that happen in life, you know, because if you're not learning and you're not continuing to grow and stuff like that, where's your progress, you know? Progress, it's subjective, I guess, and it could be just learning how to tie your shoe or something when you're a kid, you know? Like, I guess it kind of ties into being like a parent as well. Like, you know how proud you feel when your kids first do something, get themselves dressed, get their shoes on, first day of school or something like that. And then eventually it becomes like, whatever, you know. Maybe try to think of it more in a positive way. Like when you do something, like almost be more stoked about it, you know. Like maybe it would help you continue to wanna keep doing those things, you know. Like sure you're not gonna get patted on the back from somebody else. Pat yourself on the back, you know. Do a little pat on the back. Maybe it's good to recognize yourself too sometimes, especially from a standpoint of like a confidence builder and stuff like that. And you know, it's good. It's good to say some good stuff about yourself instead of like if you're like somebody like me where you kind of like bash yourself, you know. You're like, oh man, good job, Travis. You didn't do that right. You know what I mean? You messed that one up and stuff like that. Give yourself a compliment every once in a while. Maybe that'll help you, especially if you're in the dumps, you know. You're like, gosh darn it, I actually did something pretty good. So good job me and stuff like that. sure, it might be like an ego booster. Some people would consider that, or you're just trying to, I don't know, whatever people say, because they're like, you know, people are always going to be negative about stuff and whatnot. So, but try not to think about that stuff, man. That stuff, kick that stuff out the door, and be as positive as you can be, and to not only yourself but those around you. Help pick those people up too, because somebody might be going through a bad day too. That's sitting right next to you at work or on the airplane or something. And oh man, I met plenty of good people out there. Just walking, saying excuse me in the Walmart, or a grocery store of some sort. And there's magnificent people out there, great conversationalists, and contrary to what some people believe, where they're like I don't know. I'll use an example here where they're like, this town is racist, like white people think they're better than somebody else or whatever. And it's like, and it's not exactly true. I go around town and I run across stuck up white people like that or something. It's not always the case. Maybe you're doing something too. How's your actions? Were you rude? Did you say thank you? They open the door? Did you say excuse me when you bumped into them or something on accident? Stuff like that. Or did you scowl at them? Sometimes that could be a factor. Sometimes maybe sometimes they're just pissy, which also happens. And if you're a person that don't take that shit, I could see that happening as well. And then you just instant fight, instant clash, bam, right there, right in each other's face, ready to go to war with one another. And, it just makes the day a lot worse. Sometimes you just got to be a bigger person and be like, oh, I'm sorry, accident or something like that. And maybe it just doesn't escalate at all, and you just go about your day. And maybe, that person that was having a bad day will be like, man, I was all on edge for no reason, and I almost jumped on this person for no freaking reason, And maybe it's you too, if they say sorry, don't continue to escalate it. Just be like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, accidents happen. Or reflect on it. Be like, why was I so crabby? Why was I having a bad time at that point? And why was I ready to jump on somebody that accidentally did something to me, or something along those lines, But, don't get me wrong, there's people that are going to do some shit on purpose. And I've been through some stuff like that. And, it happens. I have a little story about that. I was a kid. I was probably about 9 years old, 10 years old. We were in a shoe store. I think it wasn't a complete shoe store. It was like Marshall's when I was a kid, because that's where we shopped at. You can get some name brand clothes like Michael Jordan shoes, or like FUBUs and stuff like that at this time for the cheap skis, right? Way cheaper than going to some, I don't know what kind of store would carry them, because I always just went to Marshall's, right? Marshall's, the Walmart and stuff like that. And, I have no problem wearing any of that stuff, because quite frankly, I don't care about my tire. But, my mom always cared about that stuff. And it's like, you got to look nice, which I understand, because she never really had those nice things growing up. And she was made fun of because she didn't have nice stuff. But the other side of that, if you have really nice stuff and you're going to a school where the kids are more impoverished, you're going to get made fun of for being rich or something, and you might not necessarily be rich. It's just you got some nice ass clothes, and motherfuckers going to be like, I'm going to beat your ass for that shit or something, or we're going to hate this person because he looks nice, and stuff like that. Which can happen, especially in an inner city or something. I guess rural as well, so that can happen as well. But we'd go there. We were walking through a store, and my mom's like, "Stay close, don't go too far," because you don't know what'll happen, because you never truly know what'll happen, right? And what kind of encounters you can have with anybody on any given day. But anyways, I was about 10 years old. I was a young guy way before puberty and stuff like that. But I was kind of tall. I've always been kind of tall for my age, And if you're a short adult, I was probably as tall as you. But I was probably like 5 foot, and I was like 10, 5'1", 5'2", because there are some really short adults too. But I was walking through the aisle, and a lady and her kid comes, like, just bumps me, and I'm like, oh, excuse me, like, whatever, because I was taught to say excuse me, especially if it was an accident or something. And then the lady's like, yeah, you better say that. So it was like some grown ass lady. I think she might have been in like her 30s and stuff like that. And my mom's like, what'd you say, bitch? That came out, like, you don't talk to my son like that, motherfucker. And they got in a little scuffle. My mom pushed the lady and stuff like that. And then cops are called and whatnot. But lady tried to say that none of that happened, that, me being a bad kid, that I walked into them and I was disrespectful and stuff like that. But my mom was like, I ain't backing down from that shit, You tell them the truth of what happens, whether you're believed or not. It is what it is, right? You can't just sit back and be like, let them lie and stuff like that. But even though they lie, people like the cops that come in after the fact, they don't necessarily know the whole story. They might not believe you. They don't know. They're just only going to go off of what they're told. Oh, excuse me. And if there's no witnesses to some of that situation, you might be looked at as a liar too. Or, it just gets brushed under the rug and be like, just don't talk to each other. You ever see each other or some shit like that. And sometimes those things still escalate. People get shot or something, It happens, or beat up really badly. But, is what it is. My mom was never somebody that didn't speak up, especially when she thought something was wrong. And that's like one of the things I love most about my mom, and one of the characteristics, like, I wish I had more of, because sometimes I just don't speak up that much, And sometimes, but because in my point of view, sometimes because when you speak up and you think something's right, sometimes you can do it even though you're wrong, and your pride doesn't allow you to admit that you're wrong or something like that, And that's how I felt about it, but that's not always true neither. You can be prideful, you can stand up for everything and still admit when you're wrong and stuff like that, right? But the big thing is that you speak up for yourself and make sure when something's going wrong, or what is that? When that adversity is facing you in the face, that you stand up for yourself and that you stand firm and strong, whether you're scared or not. And, you continue to go forward. And, it sounds like it's easy, but for a lot of people, it could be very, very difficult, that adversity could be some big old 6'10" guy who's really buff, or, who's really strong and just mollywop you or something like that. But, don't get scared, man. Well, you'll be scared, but, if it's right, you stand up for it because it's right, and that you're like not in the wrong, And, but if it's not worth it to you, then you're like, I don't give a shit. I run away from those conflicts and stuff like that, which is fine, like, it's scary because you don't know if the person can pull out a knife, a gun, or they're like a trained fighter and they just might beat your ass because they don't give a fuck. They might just beat your ass, or not a trained fighter, a street fighter too, Could be a trained fighter. But, they might stick to their pride and be like, oh, I'm bigger than this person, so I can enforce, or force my will onto them, and I could basically do what I want. And sometimes those people need reality checks too, that's not how the world works. Because you say something is a certain way doesn't make it that way, Everybody's got to get humbled sometimes. And, like they say, it takes a lot of times in those fights, it takes one punch. It could be you out there, you could die, or you can hit that person, knock them out, they could die too. And it's like very scary stuff, especially if you think about it. I just, they're always like, you get knocked out, you just wake right back up. And that's what I was like told from older cousins and stuff like that. Like, somebody got pistol whipped, just got back up a couple seconds later, like those cheap ass movies where they chop people like that and they're just fine. That's unrealistic. In real life, if you get knocked out, you're standing on concrete, you might clonk your head really hard, or you hit a corner of a table, you split your head up and you bleed to death, you break your neck, you do something like that. Very, very possible. That's way more probable than what some of these movies portray, and people actually die more often from those things than people think and or give credit to. And it's scary, because like you could just have untied shoes and trip and die. And I forgot all about it because I'm like, whatever. I trip a lot. Wintertime I've fallen. This past one, and jumped over a snowbank, hit some ice, bam, right on my back, got right back up. Lucky I didn't break like a rib or something or hurt my back real bad. I could have very easily done it, or I didn't brace correctly and I hit the back of my head onto the concrete, the cement or whatever. And, I could be brain damaged or something, because that's how easy it happens. And especially in the cold, the frigid cold, especially here in like Minnesota, it can get real cold. But, it just split second and everything, the world might flip upside down for some people. And, there's not much you can do about it. And, even if you could do much about it, like how much could you really do about it? Just some people, they do it by avoiding those conflicts. And, there are some really smart people out there, and I'm sure they know, that life's a very dangerous thing, and it's also a very beautiful and secret thing, great thing. And, you got to cherish it, because as we all know, life is very short, and, it's hard, especially if you're a parent. You want to, sometimes you might want to be different from how you were raised, because in your point of view, the way you were raised was terrible. It was horrible. It made you feel like, some people feel suicidal or something, or homicidal, or, very angry at, everything around them. And it can suck, right? It can be a bad place to be in, a very bad place to be in for not only yourself, but those around you. It affects people that aren't just yourself. And if you carry yourself that way negatively, it spreads like a wildfire, and be very damaging to society in a whole. So it's always easier to say that you want to be a different type of parent than how you were raised, but the reality is everybody has that idea going into it, but you don't necessarily know, because that kid's not going to be the same as you, not going to have the same thought process, and won't go through the same experiences. So they're going to act differently than you, and you can think whatever you want to think of how it's going to go, but sometimes those plans, they just don't never go that way, and you just got to learn how to roll with those punches, and ask for help. Like whenever I have questions, I ask some friends, ask friends or relatives and stuff like that. Like, how would you deal with this? Potty training, what'd you guys do? And then you try like a bunch of those different things. But now we got like YouTube, the internet essentially, right? And they're able to give some help there, but they might not have all of it accessible on the internet, and sometimes it could be not true, because as we know, everything on the internet's true, right? Nope, not at all, because there's a lot of misinformation out there, and it could be harmful. So it's good to probably consult with a doctor, especially if you're looking at like certain foods to consume or certain reactions, because sometimes, you got a bellyache, and then all of a sudden you think you got cancer, and then you're in the hospital freaking out, and they're like, dude, you just got a tummy ache, go home and eat some Tums or something, And, like, it sucks with how smart everything that we got and what's accessible to people, that, it really isn't all that, and you can still be misled and various things like that. So And, you just got to ask questions, man. You got to ask questions from human beings, those face-to-face interactions, no matter how scary they are. Those are probably going to be the most beneficial for you and stuff like that. But I would go to like multiple sources as opposed to just a single source, because we don't know everything. There's not one person in this world that knows everything. I mean, there's a person that's probably the smartest person in the world, but they still don't know everything, and things are still gonna slip by them. They're gonna go right past them. You never know, and like I said, they're humans too. They forget just like us, and they might have a better brain for remembering things, or they went through some experiences that helped them go through those things. But they ask questions too. They have to. They're the smartest people in the world for a reason, because they ask questions and they pick people's brains and they continue to learn more and grow and develop. And they don't let their own pride get in the way of continuing that process of growing and learning, trying to be a better person, Usually they're very great conversationalists. I am a terrible conversationalist. Like, I think about really good questions when I'm when I'm away or not there anymore, where it's like hours from that interaction. You're like, dang it, I should have asked this. I should have done that. But you didn't. That's the fact, right? And it sucks, but it's you gotta just try to remember those things when the time's going, and try to fire them off just like that. And some people are great at it, and some of us not the greatest at it. But sometimes we do. Sometimes we do remember those things to ask. And if you're having a hard time remembering those things, write that stuff down, man, and try to share them next time you see that person or something. Especially if you see them daily, I guess, too, or often. Sometimes seldom. So if you see them seldomly, you're not going to remember that when you see them the next time. You're going to be like, oh, what was that? I was going to ask you months ago, years ago, or whatever, So, tea is what it is. So I guess that's going to conclude this Thursday Ramble. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button, that like button. I appreciate it. And welcome to the family, man. And if you're returning and you're watching this ramble, I appreciate you guys. And I'm looking to expand the podcast to Apple Podcasts. I'm going to be working on that and getting that up there. There's some things that I still have to do on my end. But as soon as I get that there, I'll try to get that posted. Or not try, I will get that posted. And keep you guys as informed as I can. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's CloudSlayer. 53, stuff like that. Twitter, also CloudSlayer 53. On Facebook is just my name, last name. But I also have a CloudSlayer 53 page on there, but I haven't done anything on it in a long time. I used to stream and stuff on there, but I don't know. It's just like so many things to take care of for like a person. So I'm more so just here on YouTube when I stream and post videos and stuff like that, because I don't know, I like YouTube. It's very easy, and it's probably one of my favorite apps to use, like YouTube or Facebook. So Facebook's more just personal stuff, family, funny videos that I see, or community stuff, like there's Eric. Shout out to Eric too. He's doing Present Laughter. He's in a play right now, and it's pretty good from what I hear. I'm gonna try to make it out there tomorrow, and I'm not gonna try. I'm going to make it out there tomorrow, and I'm gonna go see the play and check it out, because I like that kind of stuff. And if you are too, it's at the Bemidji Community Theater. You can buy tickets over at Ken K. Thompson Jewelry in Bemidji or Mackenzie Place. Or you can buy them online as well. I don't know if they allow you to pay for it at the front. So you might be able to, but you can get like front row seatings and stuff. So I guess there's going to be one tonight at 7 p.m. The 14th. Today's the 14th, September 14th, 7 p.m. 15th, 7 p.m. And Saturday at 7 p.m. also. And I believe Sunday is the last show for Present Laughter that they're performing. Noel Coward's Present Laughter. It's about a guy and having a midlife crisis. But on Sunday, it's 2 p.m. So if you're going to make it on Sunday, it shows at 2 p.m. Again, you can buy tickets at King K. Thompson Jewelry and or Mackenzie Place. I hope you guys have a great one. So I always butcher the ending because I always start rambling about some other stuff. But peace out, guys. Love you.